So I've taken off the throttle body, off the air intake. A couple reasons. Obviously that seal is going to have to be replaced. It's compromised. Clean the throttle body up. Also want to clean the manifold up. And I needed to work on this hose, which part of which goes to that injector valve. I replaced the last of the rubber lines with a braided steel line here, and I need to get a clamp on that. So I got to pull that back off and get a little bitty clamp on there. But yeah, I was also, while I have a throttle body off, I can test the throttle position switch. There's a way you can ohm out those connectors and make sure that's good. And if it's not, I'll have to replace it. So just a couple more pieces, parts to deal with. As long as I keep everything organized and keep track of all the fasteners, hopefully I can get it all back together. The throttle position sensor appears to be working. However, it was out of adjustment. So per the Porsche 931 manual, a couple things need to be done. First, your throttle stop screw needs to be just barely up against that stop and then locked. Then you insert a feeler gauge, 0.3 millimeter in there. It's gonna be hard to do one hand, so got feeler gauge in there. Connect your ohm meter to, I think it's pins 2 and 18. Basically, they're going to be the last two pins on the right side. With the feeler gauge in, should be no resistance. And then when you pull the feeler gauge out, you should have resistance. So it's in a closed state. So basically how you achieve that adjustment is by loosening these two screws and then just turn the whole TPS until you achieve those results. So yeah, this one was way off and probably part of the reason it didn't want to start. I have tested the operation on the auxiliary air valve before, but I think I'm going to go ahead and double check it. So to do that, I'm going to remove these hard pipes off of it, and it basically just calls for applying 12 volts to the connector for about 5 minutes, and there's a opening that should close. So we'll see what happens. So that's the opening, and it's definitely somewhat open. It's got a little notch in it. Now I'm going to put 12 volts to it and see if it closes up. So yeah, 5 minutes later and it has closed up. So the auxiliary air valve appears to be in good shape.